Today in Iraq, there were absolutely massive demonstrations. We're gonna be showing you some footage of that. Depending on who you talk to, it is either between 200 to 250,000. Some sources inside the country say as much as 1 million people. It is always impossible to know for sure, but in any event, massive demonstrations calling for international troops to be taken out of the region, obviously the vast majority of those being US soldiers. Many marchers were carrying the same signs, most of them written in English and aimed at an American audience. One read, "To the families of American soldiers, insist on the withdrawal of your sons from our country or prepare their coffins." Another read, "America the devil, you have no mercy." Others were simpler, "No America." And it's pretty clear. For context, these demonstrations came about 3 weeks after the drone strike that killed Qassem Soleimani. Also, there was a vote in the Iraqi parliament endorsing a measure demanding the expulsion of foreign forces from Iraq. We responded to that with, "Well, that's just your opinion, man." But apparently many Iraqi people agree with the Iraqi government there and do not want to see more the presence of the occupying force.
It's weird how this, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, go.
It's weird how there's so much gray area in other countries. Someone mentioned this before when the whole thing went down with Soleimani, and then there's people that were like, "Oh man, he was a bad guy. We were totally against him, and we're celebrating his demise." And like, see, that does it. Yeah, but there's people in the country that aren't just people who are based in this type of back and forth political debate. Also, with in Iraq, there's this many hundreds of thousands of people gathering saying, "Hey, America, get out of here." I'm sure that didn't just start a few weeks ago after that whole thing went down.
Definitely, yeah.
Right? But we ignore that until it fits whoever's saying its narrative. So yeah, by the way, you guys say those Iranians, man, they're totally against Soleimani. You see all those people that are celebrating it. Sure. You know what? Maybe you guys don't know this, but when we killed Osama bin Laden, there was many Americans, not the majority, I don't think. They were like, "Man, we're celebrating us killing someone," and the majority of us were like, "Got him," right? Because that was the pain that was inflicted on us on 9/11 that we've been talking about ever since. But there were still many people, many Americans that were like, "This seems kind of filthy." My wife was one of them. So if another country says, "Hey, all of America was celebrating Osama bin Laden's demise," that would be inaccurate. So we can't put that same kind of onus on another country and say, "Hey, you know what? We saw this many people doing this, and that must be it." We don't analyze things deeply enough at all. So when we see a protest, yes, this many people and many more want us out of there for many reasons. That's what we should be discussing. What are we doing, and why do people want us out of there? And in versus why do people celebrate what Trump decided to do with Soleimani versus people that were against it? We have to think on just one more extra level, because then that'll help us get a better foreign policy that actually has something, as you mentioned, Maz, earlier, not thinking just through the short-term ways of, "Hey, let's do this, it'll be okay." No, what might happen? What might the people do that react? There's people that are in college, there's people that are living normal lives. Everything, our perception of what we see in other countries, especially these countries, isn't just flat out black and white. We have to determine that better.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think first of all, as an Iranian American, I know like what you were saying about Soleimani. Obviously, there's people that support Soleimani in Iran, but there's a lot of Iranians, especially in the West, that don't like Soleimani because they don't like the government of Iran. The government of Iran is oppressive to its people. There's a lot of human rights stuff that violations to the people, to women. There's a lot of bad stuff going on. However, what you just said is true. The question becomes, what is the strategy, right? So let's go back to what you said about Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was the leader of al-Qaeda. That's a terrorist organization. You take it down, and now you've done major damage to that organization. Qassem Soleimani was the leader of basically an army of a country. And so they just replaced that guy. And you can't just attack a country and think, "Oh, no one's gonna do anything." So strategically speaking, if I'm in that room with Trump and going, "Look, this guy's a bad guy, you wanna get him. I know you wanna get him for multiple reasons." One of the reasons they were saying was possibly for him to appease some of the hawkish senators who he was about to go in front on trial in front of.
Yeah.
However, I would say, think about the fact that when you take this guy out, there's gonna be repercussions, not just in Iran, but everywhere else where there's Iranian proxies, including Iraq, and now they're gonna want these soldiers out. And that's been one of the big things for us to keep our soldiers in. We have more soldiers now in the Middle East than before Trump came in. When Trump came in, he said, "I'm gonna get us out of the Middle East." Well, we have more in the Middle East. But one thing somebody pointed out to me, they said, what happens if Iran plays this game? What happens if Iran or Iraq play the game where as these soldiers are coming in, eventually they, let's say they capture some American sailors. in August, leading up to the elections, and they go, "We're not going to let these sailors go until you get all your troops out of here." Now we're heading towards a nice war again in the Middle East, and it all goes back to no strategy when they started. What's your strategy?
Yeah. It's incurious, emotional people in charge of a military they don't understand and don't respect. Yeah, totally. I'm glad that you pointed out that this is a guy who kept promising he was going to take us out of the Middle East. He was going to end wars. I thought it was insane that people believed that he would ever do that, and he has not done that. We have more soldiers there now. There's more drone strikes than there were. It's worse. But also, while this is certainly the fact that the past few weeks has had an effect on these demonstrations, and this is the biggest demonstration that I can think of in some time there, this is not the beginning of Iraqis wanting us to get out of their country, and it's not universal. Reporters have been there today, and there are some Iraqis who they've talked to that are like, no, like I'm an old man. There was this guy selling coffee. He was like, I don't think I could continue to do this if it got more chaotic. But apparently that is a minority opinion, and I just think it's a little bit odd that we can certainly have an opinion of what we think the future of the strategy should be. But if a country's government says get out, and its people organize and say get out, it's just weird that we can be like, no. Yep. We're just going to be there. And it's not an occupation, by the way.
And not only that,
you want us here, even though you don't.
Right. You saw what Trump said in response. It was like, I'm going to hit Iraq with the biggest sanctions they ever heard of in their life. So then it goes further for more aggression, more threats, and more anger based off of without listening and finding out, man, why do they want us out? What is it we can do? If you want to stay and you think it's beneficial for us to stay, figure a way to do that rather than telling someone, I'm who I am, and therefore you're going to do what I say to another sovereign country.
I'm glad you mentioned the economic sanctions because it's really something to be like, no, we're not going to leave. We're protecting you, and we're going to crush your economy. Okay, that's a really bizarre message to send.
Yeah, well, he is not in any way a statesman, so he doesn't know exactly what you guys were saying, which is to maybe he comes forward and says, look, these things that happened were unfortunate. It was happened because X, Y, and Z. We will be talking to the Iraqis to see if we can save face and move forward. And then you go behind closed doors, you let your diplomats do their work. Diplomats go in, we're here to protect you, X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. But when he goes out and he's like, we're gonna take the oil, you hear him say this? We're gonna take the oil, we're gonna keep the oil, take the oil. Like, you're not helping the situation, anybody. You're not helping the Iraqis that want you to stay sell that story to their people. So, I mean, this guy's just a bozo.
It goes to, and I mentioned it earlier, his approach in anything. When he first came and announced he's running for president, he talked about people he doesn't like, who he doesn't trust, who should have travel bans on. All these things, it's an indication of how he's gonna approach any foreign policy. This foreign policy has nothing to do with his travel ban, but it shows his disdain for other folks. He's like, these people want me out. I don't care what these people think. I don't think much of these people, so I'm gonna tell them what I'm gonna do. As you said, somehow we're there to protect you, but we're gonna threaten you into oblivion. How does that match up? It doesn't matter. It matters if you don't think these are real human beings. You can say whatever you want to them. It's an indication from the beginning of how he would pursue being.
And by the way, they flip it around a lot of times. They go, these guys are saying negative things about America. They're saying get out, da 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 da. It's like, yeah, because we went in and we're still there. And the honest truth is, if you look at a lot of these other countries, you got guys like Newt Gingrich and stuff saying like, oh, they're saying death to America. They're saying death to America. America, people in the Middle East aren't thinking about you that much. They are, in all honesty, it's like they're just trying to live their lives. They're trying to provide food for their families and maybe watch some sports at night. That's I mean, they're just trying to get through their lives. Once in a while, American television, cameras show up and they go, oh, hey, death to America. So really, I'm serious. So it's like, you know what? We're like this. We think we're hot. We think we're like, people are thinking about us, right? We're the one who think, they've got to be talking about it. No, they're not. So if you leave them alone, they won't talk about you. And if you don't bring your cameras around or your soldiers around, let them be, And obviously, again, we all know it always goes back to the oil. So I always say, if you have oil, it's like being a drug dealer. They're gonna come for you, and you just gotta know when to get rid of the stuff. So here we are in this situation, and they want us out. They want us out.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.